back to our mats for the Vichara yoga practice. So good morning all. Let's come to find our way into seated. Good morning to each of you. Good morning. Finding our way here into seated on our mats in whatever comfortable position feels perfect for you this morning. We'll start here. Good morning. I've forgotten, and maybe you have as well, to just make sure to remove any jewelry, both for the restriction that happens when we have this on, so out of safety, but also it's nice to come just totally clean and clear of such things. Each metal has its own resonance, each stone has its own resonance. Good morning all. So coming together this morning, we are going to explore, just as we did now in our meditation, continuing to explore the gift and the savoring of each moment that is known in every breath. So for this morning's Vichara Yoga Sadhana, really the sadhana, the session, this pathway of truth, we sometimes call it a practice, but really there's no way we can practice being ourselves or practice being this moment. Instead, what it is really just coming to the exploration of life now. So this sadhana this morning will intend towards bringing us into intimacy with each breath. It's like carrying the meditation, but now into a meditation of movement. So even as we move, breath moves with us. And there's a power that can be recognized in settling into each and every one of the breaths, because as we do that, that allows the altar of our mats to then show and to reveal to us that nothing other than this moment exists. All the thoughts of past and of future melt away into the doorway of this very moment, savored in this very present breath. And that can really translate then into our lives, truly. It's not just something that, we say in yoga or something, that's kind of a cliche statement. But really, I invite all of us to explore this, to come into an inquiry of this, vichara, an inquiry of what is it to be alive in this very breath. Because if we start to really settle, abide in that, we might notice that so many of the things, so many of the incessant thoughts that are the starting place of so much of our suffering and our strife in our lives, they just simply have no relevance. They can't be found in the now. That's what I mean. Not that they're not relevant to the person. Of course, the person gets, seduced by various thoughts. But in the power of now, they somehow get completely and totally dissolved. And the weight of what's seen and experienced in nowness, they just become unimportant. There's an indifference. So by resting into each breath, it's almost like we're asking the simple question of, what's the problem now? Is there a problem now? What's life now? And then we notice the potency of life now that really is devoid of any concept or label or thought about what's occurring, but rather is savored in the fullness of really what is now. So that will be our exploration for this morning, to stay consistently with each and every breath, even as there's movement, and to allow that to translate into the rest of our day and days. So bring your hands, palms down on the knees. Feel yourself grounded here, any comfortable seated position. Of course, you can also follow along on a chair. Feel very comfortable to come as you are. Let the eyes gently close. We already start by feeling the breath here. Let there be an availability, meaning an opening to this moment. Let the body be embodied in its availability also. The shoulders soft, the tummy relaxed. Feel deep and full breaths entering in and offering out. And even welcome the breath to the edge, meaning come to the edge of inhale and the edge of exhale, where you think you can't inhale more. Let it go a little deeper, and where you feel you've reached the fullness of exhalation, go a little bit farther. And witness those attempts of the mind to dialogue about what's happening or to float off into some thinking about something that's not even here, creating stories. And then come back to the completeness, the perfection of this very breath. So take one more full inhalation here. Of course, we'll continue to be breathed. And then with the exhale, let the hands float into the heart center, into Anjali Mudra. Let them rest at heart space, at the sternum. Feel the hands press together. This coming together of Ha, Ta at the heart. The sun and the moon duality as one. This is the true intention of Hatha Yoga, of this physical yoga, is to marry any concept in our embodiment of duality and to come back to our wholeness, to recognize that we're not partial, we're not separate, we are full and whole now. I'm residing here at the heart. I welcome you to chant with me. You can repeat after me this beautiful Shantipata that we often begin our mornings with. So repeating each line, and even if it's the first time for you chanting, you can come to it just with an openness of the heart. Try to follow along in whatever way feels comfortable for you. Om Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Vunaktu. Saha Viryam Karavavahe. Tejasvinavaditamastu. Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Resting here for another moment or two, feeling the gift of this prayer may all be infused with peace. May we come to recognize that the background constancy is in fact peace, that there is a peace presence that is the very perfume of our being. And then take a moment for your own sankalpa, your own intention this morning, especially as our collective intention is exploration, inquiry into the breath, this moment, anchoring in and as breath. Connect to your own sankalpa, your own intention for what's drawing you here this morning. And then with the next exhale, let the hands float down towards the knees. Make sure the feet now, the legs are in Sukhasana, so this comfortable or somewhat comfortable seated position. The feet under the knees and the hands on the knees. And from here, let's start to move into some pratapana, into some warming. And these warmings really warming up the expansion, the availability to breath. So let's start firstly with a seated cat-cow. Take an inhale. Let the head look up and let the chest and heart move forward. Then with an exhale, roll into yourself. Take the chin down towards the chest and draw the navel back. Inhale, rock forward and open. Of course, these can be done also on a chair, or if you want to use a pillow under the buttocks or under the knees. And now use that big and full cleansing breath. Inhale through nose and exhale from mouth. And again, meet those edges. So inhale farther than you feel is possible, all the way down to the pelvic floor. And exhale, reach up from pelvic floor, and exhale even from the upper part of the lungs in through the space of the clavicle. Explore these spaces of breath, welcoming us into fullness with the inhale and emptiness, nothingness with the exhale. All of life occurring between these two poles, the full and the empty. And 3 more times in this way. Really exaggerate, create that undulation through spine and through chest. Notice how we're releasing any holding in through the space of the rib cage, and thus opening the space for the lungs, both in the front body and the back body. Last time. Then let the body find its way back to a place of neutrality and just sit there for a moment, eyes closed, completely enveloped in breath. And bring the attention down to the space around the thoracic cage, this whole area of the lungs, and feel their expanse. Welcome them to expand 360 degrees, front body, back body, into the side bodies. And then similarly, as you exhale, really welcome them to soften and release and relax. Both sides of the breath, so necessary. This activity, welcoming life now, opening with inhalation. And the exhale, releasing, passivity, softening. And then let's change the legs. So whichever one was on front, bring it to the back. Switch the legs here. And then let's bring the hands, clasp the hands together and bring them to the back of the head. So settle them there at the back of the head. Let's open up through the side bodies. And you might already feel this, an opening that's occurring through here. Take an inhale through center. Even let your gaze slightly look up so you'll open those shoulders. If it starts to look down, you notice you cave. So open in and through. But keep the chin parallel with the floor. Exhale, dip to the left side. Look up towards, if you can, draw the eyes towards the right elbow. Inhale through center. Exhale to the other side and look over and up. And now those full cleansing breaths. Inhale through nose. Use the eyes here. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Continue with the drishtis, with those focal points. With the inhale, you look up towards ceiling, towards the elbow. As you exhale, dipping down towards the side. One more time on either side. Then come to center. Flip the grip here. So whichever way you've combed the fingers, comb them in what might feel like the awkward way. Bring the hands back. And now opposite breath. So take an inhale here. Exhale. And now dip towards left side and inhale as you look up towards right. Exhale through center. Inhale to the other side. Exhale to center. And now continue. Exploring breath, but also exploring our plasticity here. Our capacity to remap held tendencies of the body. So when we do things equally on either side, when we shift the patterning of the breath, so shifting this inhale and exhale, notice how it requires an attention. The nervous system in many ways is remapping. One more time on either side. And then from there, keeping the fingers clasped, draw them all the way up towards the sky. And then with an inhale, look up. And with the exhale, dip the chin. But keep the rest of the body stable. Inhale, look up. Exhale, dipping down. Continue in this way. And now you can close the eyes but maintain the movement. Again, extend the breaths. Three more times. And then with the next exhale, release the hands. Let the head come towards neutrality and just settle there for a couple breaths. Feel how we're deepening the opening of the lungs, the breath channel, opening to prana, the life's energy now. Feel the joy in that. It's like an embodied joy as every cell starts to be innervated, awakened with oxygen, with blood, but also with prana, with this energy of life. And then flip the legs again. So whichever one's on front, bring it to the back and vice versa. Let's continue with a little bit of side body opening. We've done this before. Bring both hands down onto the floor. From here, with an inhale, open through right side, plant that left hand. Open and expand all the way over and through. Exhale, drop right hand and expand through the left side. And find your own fluidity here. So if you want to bring that lifted hand into a mudra, you want to come down all the way onto the forearm, you can do this. Or you want to slide the hand on the floor out a little bit further, but keep the sit bone of the opening side planted onto the floor. Continue to bring those big and full breaths. Inhale. Looking up, expanding. And now play a little bit in your exploration of breath. Notice if there's a naturalness, inhale and exhale moving from nose, or if you continue to enjoy that inhale through nose and exhale, release through the mouth. Exhaling from the mouth can really be calming, relaxing, releasing. Inhaling and exhaling through nose is a little more heating. So just explore there. Notice for yourself what occurs. One more time on either side. And then finding our way back towards the center point and relax there. Notice again. Warming up as always, not just the physicality, but also warming our awareness. If you notice that there's a seduction of thoughts, come back to be landed in each breath now. And then let's find our way into a tabletop position. So finding our way here. Let's work a little bit with breath and movement here. So plant the toes. And from here, we're going to inhale as we lift knees up and exhale as we drop them down. You're not coming into a full downward dog, but instead knees are under the hips and the wrists are under the shoulders. From here, inhale, keep the body stable, the spine in one long line. Exhale as you drop down. Inhale, exhale. So just a few inches off. Releasing and waking up the hips, but even waking up the breath in that strength of the space of the belly, the diaphragm. So even as you inhale and lift here, see if you can breathe into the belly. And as you exhale, release the pelvic floor. A few more times. And exhale, flip the toes, and then let's draw back. Reside there in Vajrasana, sit for a moment or two. If there's any tension in the wrists, you can even just roll them for a second to release. And then notice that warmth and an invitation of the breath into a little deeper part of the lungs. There's so much relationship between the tension of the abdomen and how we're able to breathe. So as we feel that warmth then through the space of the abdomen, let the breath and that whole area of the belly soften and release. And let's come into one last warming this morning, especially for the feet, the ankles. So let's notice if we can pair breath, even if there is opening or tension. This is a powerful recognition that we bring the breath to spaces when we're at an edge maybe of discomfort. And notice how the breath allows there to be this finding of comfort even in the discomfort. So from here, flip the toes under and notice, maybe you need to stay high here, or if you're able to sit back so that you're relaxing back onto the heels and feel that opening that happens in the toes, and begin to breathe fully here as you rock. Rocking slightly from side to side, opening up all the way. So this rocking is going all the way from the baby toe right up towards the big toe. And for some of us, this may be effortful. For others of us, this might be effortless. Let breath feel as though you're breathing into the soles of the feet, almost like you expand the bottoms of the feet with every breath. And especially as you exhale, release. Release if there's places of holding. There are so many of the nadis, the channels of energy, as well as marma points, these acupressure points that reside in the feet. So we're waking up and stimulating, especially our connection down towards the vitality of the earth. And then from here, stabilize, bring the hands down, flip the toes under, and then let's come to lift up, opening the fronts of the feet. So from here, inhale as you draw up, exhale as you drop the knees down. Inhale, draw them up, exhale, release down. And continue in this way and see if you might be able to go a little bit higher. If you're only able to press up slightly, that's absolutely fine. Just play here with what's possible for you. Of course, if you're dealing with any kind of ankle injury or something, then avoid this movement. Sometimes we really forget our feet in our warm-up, especially these days with all that is occurring. It's so important for our feet to be open so that they can breathe in earth. As it starts to warm up in many of our countries, I really invite you to find your way out onto the earth, to take your feet off, to take your shoes off, and to get your feet on the earth and really to receive those negative ions that can be so antioxidant, that can really help us with all the free radicals that can boost our immunity. And then one more time, let's come to flip. So flip the toes underneath. And again, find big and full breaths as you start to shift from side to side. Couple more times. Even visualize a smile down onto the bottoms of the feet. It's actually a Taoist practice to bring an inner smile to different organs or places of the body, thus to bring healing and opening to that area. So a couple more times, breathing with this internal smile. And then with the next exhale, relax the feet back, sit back for a moment or two and notice. Just be here in the noticing of this moment. Nothing else is needed, not going for a seeking or a searching to make this moment be more complicated than it is. The simplicity of now, this breath, the rising day, depending upon where you are in the world, the aliveness, the simple preciousness of being alive. And let's make our way into a few asanas, continuing to explore our gift of breath and prana in each one of the asanas, the postures. So let your hands come out front, spread out through all the fingers. So let's start there. We're going to come into Adho Mukha Svanasana, into downward dog, but really place the fingers so that middle finger is pointing forward. All the fingers are spread out and the entirety of the palms are pressed down into the earth. From here, come up onto the knees and walk your feet back and then drop into downward dog and stabilize. So adjust hands and feet. The feet coming a hip width distance apart. The hands are shoulder width distance apart. And from here, really orient the sits bones. So take the sits bones and take the tailbone and try to draw it up towards the ceiling, creating one long line in the spine. And you might, from there, bend the knees slightly so this can occur. Rather than trying to press the heels down, but creating a rounding in the back. So instead, Let the entirety of the back and the spine feel like one long line reaching down towards the floor, and then create space between the shoulder blades. Soften through there, even soften the head, the neck. And from here, feel that plantedness, planted to earth through all four limbs. And start to allow big and full breaths. This is an excellent asana for releasing the space of the abdomen, the diaphragm. So especially as you exhale, feel how there's an emptying out through that abdominal area. And as you explore the breath here, almost feel as though you're inhaling through the soles of the feet, the palms of the hand. We inhale the earth energy, Prithvi. This is a very grounding asana, grounding for Muladhara chakra, the root chakra. Increasing our stability, our sense of security, of being poised, placed, safe in our lives and ourselves on the earth. Let's find 3 more full breaths here. And then with the next exhale, very slowly, start to lower the knees down. And you can draw right back into child's pose, but widen out through the knees. So let the knees come out towards the sides, dip the head down. And let's come into child's pose, looping the hands together at the back and then lifting them up slightly towards the sky. Find big and full breaths here. We're continuing to explore what it is to be open to this moment in and through breath. Pulse here slightly, drawing the hands and thus the shoulders open towards the head, towards the ears. Create that slight pulsing as everything opens. Notice the relationship between the shoulders and the breath. When our shoulders become collapsed, like is often happening when we're overusing devices or phones, the breath also collapses. So notice this expansion into the back body. Find deep and full breaths. And then stay here with the body in this position, but relax the hands down and then come to clasp the elbows at the back body. So bringing the hands to wrap around the elbows and then soften the shoulders back. So try to draw the shoulders slightly back onto the back body and then relax here. Relax the hips down, relax the forehead and continue to breathe deeply. Balasana, this child's pose, really opening us into Anahata chakra, to the heart chakra. Let the heart be filled with breath, be filled with life now. Finding 2 more full breaths here. And with the next exhale, gently release the hands from where they are. Let them come under the shoulders. And then with the inhale, relax the head, relax the chin, and start to gently, slowly lift the body up, ever so gently. Draw the knees back towards each other and sit up nice and tall. And notice with that opening of the shoulders, the opening of the heart space, notice the welcomed breath. But also the gift of Balasana to really soften us. Notice how when we relax and soften, breath, life now is able to enter more deeply. Let's continue now with Gomukhasana, or the cow face posture. So there's a few choices here. You can stay in this position of Vajrasana, or you can come as we started in Sukhasana, in the cross-legged position like such, or you can come into the full expression of the asana. And for that, I invite you to come or try this. Come into a tabletop position. Take your left knee towards the center line, so bring it towards the center of the body, and take the right leg and wrap it over. And then from here, take your heels and bring them out towards the sides, so swing them out towards the sides. And then start to gently, slowly walk yourself back. So you sit back and the knees are on top of each other. If for anyone there's a lot of discomfort here, or you're finding that one hip is extremely lifted, then bring a pillow under the opposite hip. So not the one that's lifted, so you don't want to accentuate that, but bring it under the other. So you can use just the corner of a pillow or the fullness of a pillow to then slightly prop and allow there to be evenness in through the hips. So adjust yourself as necessary, or as I said before, come in a more neutral seated position. And then from here, we come to open up through the arms. Whichever leg is on top, we're going to lift the opposite arm. So from here, what we're firstly going to do is take the right arm, right knee's on top, right arm, and bring it to the back body, and then help with the left hand so it comes up through the center line, so it comes between the shoulder blades. From here, inhale, take the left hand up. And if you're going to need to use a strap, bring it into this left hand. Drop that left hand and try to bring connection between the fingers at the back and between the shoulder blades. So adjust here as is needed. Right hand coming up and through in between, and left hand either coming to meet or use a strap, use a scarf, use a belt, anything that feels comfy. Even as I have here, we can make do using a hood. And then from here, notice how we often try to refer the opening rather than opening our hearts. We might try to open by moving in through the area of the lumbar area or the abdomen. So soften that back and let the expanse happen through heart space. Let the chin be neutral, even shake the head from side to side. Left elbow is up towards the sky. And find deep and full breaths. This is really welcoming and opening, especially in through the left lung. As we reteach the body how to be open to breath, it's not that we're teaching the body how to breathe. It is our natural birthright to be breathed into and to offer breath to all beings. It is our natural birthright to be full of breath, full of life. But through patterning, the body sometimes has become collapsed in one way or another, guarded to life and thus guarded to breath. So as we relearn or unlearn some of those tendencies and open, you might notice different things can arise, images, memories, emotions. Let's find one more breath here. Exhale and then soften. Soften that right arm firstly. Inhale, draw the left hand all the way up to sky. And then exhale, let it come down towards the side and just reside there for a moment or two. Keep the eyes closed and you might be noticing exactly this remapping, especially as we work through the space of the heart and breath. There's so much that can be revealed. Don't get stuck in one image or story or another, but if they're here, see them and let them pass by. This can be a clearing in so many ways. And then if you have the legs in this way, we're going to come to switch them. So from here, you can start to walk yourself slightly forward, come up onto the hands, unloop the legs, and then come to the opposite. So take the right knee towards the center line and take the left leg over top. And then from here, swing the heels out towards the sides and start to sit ever so slowly down and back. And then bring an evenness. So try to bring an evenness between both. And again, use a pillow where necessary to really allow there to be that squaring off of the hips. From here, let's take the left arm around the back body up through center line. Inhale, take right arm up towards sky and bring connection or use a strap. Create space between the right ear and the arm. So notice if you're crowding them towards each other. Soften through that right shoulder. I so often wish in these mornings of practice together that I was there in your space with you to offer you a little hands-on. So I trust that each one of you in becoming present, more and more present to how the body is unfolding and moving. Notice, how can you bring more comfort, sukham, this ease? Even in the opening, we can find our place of ease. This is yoga. Coming totally to be united with this very moment. Close the eyes. Feel now that whole space, the right of the chest, the right lung. And you might notice a clear difference between the right and left sides. The left is the more receptive aspect, the right, the more giving aspect. What does it mean to be receptive or giving from the heart? We really pattern our tendencies, the tendencies of the personality into the body. They get held here, crystallized. So as we come to these asanas, we're really reviewing, revealing, and releasing many of these tendencies. Continue to find big, full, deep breaths, welcoming into that right lung. Three more full breaths here. And the last full breath, you see when we meet the edge, staying in the asanas a little bit longer, the energy and even the fascia, the connective tissues are able to really, really release and stabilize. Release the hands ever so gently. Let that left hand walk down the body. Inhale, take the right arm all the way up towards the sky. And then with the exhale, drop the right arm down. Reside there for a few moments. Feel now up through the right side of the chest, the shoulder. Let the asana work in its own way, the sacred geometry. Really providing its own medicine, not just physically, but energetically, emotionally, mentally. And then if you have the legs in this position, slowly walk the hands forward, tip the body onto the knees, and then let's unravel. So take that left leg over and out. And then all of us, no matter what position you're in, come up into this tabletop here. And let's relax out of the hips. So start to create small circles here in hips and in wrists. Close the eyes, feel the movement. One way and then the other. And then find your way in a stabilized tabletop position here. So adjust in any way necessary so that the wrists are directly under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips. And if you need to use pillows under the knees or you want to fold the mat there, you can do so. We're going to come into a balancing position here. That's wonderful for opening again the breath into the lungs, into the chest, but also it's a very balancing asana. So if you want to be closer towards a chair or a wall, you might do that just in case there's a bit of tipping that's happening. From here, take your left hand and bring it slightly towards the center, not in the center, but just slightly. So it's slightly in from the left shoulder, so you'll feel that stability. And do the same with the right knee. Take the right knee and just really make sure it's under, not widened, but under the right hip. And from here, very slowly, start to extend the left leg. So we're going to start there. Create extension through here. And then find a drishti, find a focal point down onto the floor in front of your mat. With the next inhale, take the right arm out in front. Good, everyone's got it. And if you need to turn those right toes under to feel more stable here, do so. And then try to reach the right hand back and find the foot. So from here, expand. Utthita Ardha Dhanurasana, this uplifted half bow. Expand and open through the chest. Feel that space of the right heart opened. And find your balance point here. Maintain that drishti, that focal point. Find deep and full breaths. Notice if the body's wanting to twist. Try to keep the navel like an eye looking down towards the floor. Find 3 more breaths. And with the next exhale, come back where we came from. So release, then inhale, extend, and exhale, drop it down. Beautiful, everyone. And then from here, let's do the same on the other side. So take the right hand slightly in, find your balance point there. Of course, if there's tension in the wrist, you can come up onto the fist. And from here, again, make sure that left knee now is directly under the hip. Inhale, take right leg back. And again, if you want to stabilize more by flipping those left toes under, you can. Extend through left arm. And then gently draw them to connect. And now from here, with the next inhale, expand and open. Find your drishti either onto the floor or extend the gaze forward. If that's possible for you, really extending, opening, lift out of that right shoulder. Find your balance. Three more breaths. And with the next exhale, release. Inhale, extend through leg and arm. And exhale, drop it down. And then let's create circles again. But now come up onto the fist, flip the toes under, and then circle here. Moving in one direction, then moving in the other. And then come to just rest in the tabletop, flip the hands back where they came from, rest there and notice. A neutral tabletop position. Continue to feel that opening. Feel the opening also in the back body. We often don't think that we breathe in the back. We're so oriented to this frontward moving. So notice if you can feel your breath all the way into the space on either side of the spine, the backs of the rib cage, right down towards the kidneys. Breathe deeply into the back body here. And then very slowly, let's extend ourselves all the way down onto the mat. And from here, already come to plant the elbows onto the mat, slightly in front of the shoulders. We're going to come into Makarasana. Makara is an amazing figure, mythological maybe, but said to exist in the underwaters, actually, in the murky waters. So we bring the hands together and create this little pedestal for the chin. And then take the legs and bring them out to the sides of the mat with the heels planted on the mat, but the toes pointed out towards the sides. From here, roll the shoulders back. So notice if there's a tendency to draw the shoulders up towards the ears. Soften them back and down. The gaze looks slightly down. And just adjust the legs in any way so there's no tension in the knees. From here, close the eyes. And let the whole space of the pelvis and the hips release. If you need to put a pillow or a folded mat or towel under this area, you can. And see if you can breathe so that you feel the swelling of the lower abdomen, that area all the way down towards the pubic bone, pressing more fully onto the mat with every incoming breath. Let yourself stay completely here with the melting into every breath. Feel the full ballooning that happens with the inhale and the complete releasing and softening that happens with the exhale. Let's stay here quietly for a few more breaths. And then very gently with the next exhale, bring the feet back so they're parallel extended from the hips. Very slowly, let them come there. And then ever so gently, also relax the head down. Bring it onto the backs of the hands, so create a little pillow and soften there. Forehead down onto the hands. And as we've done before, if it's helpful for you to take the big toes to face each other, let them kiss at the bottom of the mat to really soften the heels out towards the sides, just to reverse that movement in through the hips. And then in your own time, as you feel ready, let's come to roll onto the back body. So find your way rolling onto the back body for one last asana. And there's a couple choices here for our last posture. So one option is to come into Setu Bandhasana, to come into the bridge pose. So the heels would make their way towards the buttocks, and we'll roll the shoulders underneath and then come with the abdomen pressing up towards the sky. That's one option. Another is for those of you who it's in your practice, we're going to come into Chakrasana. In both, we're really expanding this front body to breath. So for Chakrasana, we're bringing the hands under the shoulders. If you haven't practiced this before, please go really carefully at home, okay? Please. And let there be just a little bit of joy and exploration here. From here, the heels are still pressed towards the buttocks. Take an inhale and exhale, soften. And then with the next inhale, press into feet and hands and begin to raise up. Let the head and the gaze look down towards the hands and press into your feet. Expand through the abdomen. Even if for some of you, you're just able to make your way up onto the head, but make sure there's no compression in the neck. You're still using the arms. Start to press through the feet so the heart moves through the arms. And for those of us who feel more comfortable in Setu Bandhasana this morning, continuing to expand upwards. So let that expansion occur. Let the navel orient up towards the sky, the chest draw towards the chin, and let's all continue to find a few breaths here. Breathe deeply. Last 3 breaths. And with the next exhale, ever so slowly, everyone come to roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. Relax the shoulders out to the side so the spine can really come down, and then draw the knees towards the chest and just wrap the hands gently here. Soften the belly. Anchor and bring softness also to the breath. Keep the eyes closed. And notice with both of these asanas, sometimes requiring a little more efforting, notice if the breath becomes labored or if it was held in any way. This is an amazing teaching for our lives, to still find full, deep, welcomed breaths, even in places of challenge or edge or discomfort. So now as we relax here, just let a couple full breaths find their way in. And then let's roll our way up to seated. So you can bring the hands onto the back of the thighs. Just begin to roll along the spine. And you can even pair breath here. Inhale as you draw back and exhale as you come up. A couple more times. And then find your way all the way up into a seated position. Those of you on Instagram, it's going to end in a moment or two. It has an hour timer. So we will hop right back on. So I'll get you right back on here afterwards. So coming up into any comfortable seated position, we're going to conclude with some pranayama this morning. One of the most powerful pranayamas that can help us to regulate our breath and really just to learn to breathe fully is what we call Maha Yoga Pranayama. And together we've practiced this before, the Great Yogic Pranayama or Dirgha Pranayama, which may seem very simple, but it's very profound, and really it's a life's teacher in its simplicity. And so it's the 3-parted breath, learning to be able to breathe deeply into the abdomen, into the entirety of the rib cage, and up into the space of the chest and the whole area of the clavicle. So abdomen, the whole area of the rib cage, and then up into chest and collarbone. We inhale through the nose in this 3-parted breath, and then we exhale from the mouth. And as we exhale from chest, then we exhale from the rib cage, and we exhale from the abdomen. And really it's about learning both sides, that the inhale allow the entirety to expand, the entirety of the body to expand, and that the exhale let all come back and retract, draw in. And so we'll continue in that way. We're going to learn the fullness of doing this together. So prepare yourself by already starting to take a couple deep and full breaths. So as we've done before, inhaling fully, exhaling completely from the mouth, just stabilizing the breath already. And then I'm going to welcome you to bring the hands into a mudra, the first finger and the thumbs coming together onto the backs of the hands onto the knees. And then from here, let's begin with this three-parted breath. Begin to inhale through the nose, and inhale, the abdomen swells. Continue to inhale, the rib cage expands in all directions. Continue to inhale, the chest rises and opens. Relax the shoulders and hold. Stay here in kumbhaka, in retention. Feel the whole body filled with oxygen and prana. Now gently start to exhale from the mouth. Exhale from chest. Exhale from the rib cage. Exhale from the abdomen. Draw the navel back. So feel like the navel is drawing back. You're exhaling fully. The more you exhale, the more inhale you can welcome. Stay there for a moment of retention. Begin to inhale. Inhale, abdomen. Inhale, rib cage, expand in all directions, back body also. Inhale up into the chest, open, expand, and then stay here for kumbhaka, for retention. Relax the shoulders, relax the face. If you are pregnant, do not do the retention. From here, exhale from the mouth, exhale from the chest, exhale from the rib cage comes back to center point, and exhale from the abdomen, the navel draws all the way back. Pause, kumbhaka, these retentions are very important. Feel the fullness, then the emptiness. Inhale, inhale into abdomen, rib cage, chest. Stay there, kumbhaka, retention. Exhale, chest, rib cage, abdomen. Stay there in the retention. And begin to inhale. Now in your own time and way, relearn the fullness of the breath and stay in the kumbhaka, stay in the retentions, feel the fullness and the emptiness. Whenever you feel you need to exhale, do so from mouth and continue in this rhythm. Finding 3 more breaths in this way. And then allow the body to relax. Relax the hands, relax the breath. And notice the naturalness of every field, physically, energetically, emotionally, mentally. Even the field, as it's called in Yoga, Anandamaya Kosha, the field of bliss, all coming to its natural harmony. As we welcome breath now, the great medicine of the breath, the sense that we are interconnected with all, not separate from life, is intimately known now. And as always, I'm going to welcome you, once we conclude together, to come down into Shavasana, to come into a relaxation pose, and to really allow yourself to integrate this morning's sadhana. Shavasana is so crucial and important, maybe one of the most important asanas. So take your time to relax in silence, maybe cover up with a blanket, use pillows where necessary, and really bring full and deep breaths there and allow all to be felt in its abiding and in its settledness. We'll conclude together here now with our final prayer, the Maha prayer, this beautiful chant mantra of liberation, of fearlessness. So I invite you to bring your hands to heart and you can repeat after me. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mokshiyam Amritat Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May we truly breathe this prayer today and all days. May we all be free, liberated from the idea that past and future exist, liberated to truly live in and as the peace and the joy and the fullness of this very moment. Even on a global scale at this time, as there's strife or suffering, may we find in the presence of this moment a great place of respite. May all beings truly be free from suffering. And may every being be at peace. Namaste. Much love to each and every one of you, wherever you are in the world. May your day be one of abiding peacefulness, and may we each just have gratitude for each and every breath that we're afforded in the preciousness of our lives now. So welcoming all of you to make your way down into Shavasana, and we will meet again at this time on Wednesday for Vichara Yoga Sadhana. Love to each of you.